Hello, everyone. It's Emmanuel from Kelly. I'm the Life Science Project Manager at Kelly for Europe. And I'm very pleased today to be with Stephan Sigrist, who gave a webinar for Kelly a week ago. So just for you to be a bit familiar with Kelly, basically we connect talents to work and companies to the right expertise that they need. So in another word, we are a leading talent company with a deep interest in life science since a few years now. We have established a strong reputation within the life science industry. We are connected to universities, professional associations, and all the big names in the pharma industry, the med devices industry, and the biotech world. We were born in 1946 in the US, and now we are present worldwide. Why this big interest in life science? Well, what could be more important than saving lives, right? And in a kind of unfortunate way, the situation we are facing since almost a year now proved that life sciences should always come first. So this being said, we were wondering after this COVID situation and after the pandemic situation that we are facing right now, what could come next into the life science business. So having this in mind, we decided to contact Stephan to help us answer the questions and help us navigate throughout the future of the life science world. So Stephan is a scientist by training. He's at the head of the think tank W.I.R.E, where he understands and deciphers a complex system with a deep interest and huge focus on life science. So Stephan, the stage is now yours. If we should have in mind three key messages from the webinar, Navigate the Future of Life Science, that you gave us, what should they be?
Hi, Emmanuel. Well, I mean, there is a lot going on at the moment, and we have an extremely high complexity, as we know, from the coping with the virus. At the same time, I think taking a bit of a longer perspective, there's also a few things that get very clear. First of all, I think we have learned that health is at the core of economic and of social stability. It's not just something happening on the side. If our healthcare system is under attack, if people are not healthy, we do not have a working economy, and it has grave impacts on society. So all these three systems belong together, and that's really important. The second thing we've learned is that definitely without a digital framework, it is not able to be sustainable in the healthcare environment. That means we will need data, clear scientific data, in order to be precise, in order to be effective. So for all these people believing that digital transformation is something that is going to go away and it's not necessary, that is not the case. It is going to be the fundamental structure of our healthcare system of tomorrow. Having said this, it is very important to understand that at the same time, technology is not the key foundation for innovation. It is a source. It provides new solutions, but in order to be proactive, understand the true challenges, we shouldn't just look at technology, we should actually understand the future needs of patients and of our society. And if we look into that, I think there's quite a clear picture. First of all, we have realized there's a renaissance of infectious diseases. And not only because of Corona, there's also the return of antibiotic resistances that are a huge challenge. We have new diseases or infectious diseases that could spread to other parts of our world due to the higher temperature we see. But at the same time, there's also the so-called slow pandemics, non-communicable diseases such as obesity or heart-related diseases that are on the rise. This is not happening fast. It's a slow movement. We see it just part-wise, but the impact is even bigger than the one we see with the current pandemic. So that means we're going to have much more people suffering from chronic diseases. And of course, there's also a rise of mental diseases. So it's on all areas of the spectrum. It's not just a shift as we believed would happen from infectious diseases to chronic. It's really a very broad spectrum that we need to tackle. That again means that healthcare, and I think this is really the big challenge, is moving away from expert zones in hospitals and just laboratories to everyday life, because a lot of these chronic diseases, they develop in everyday life and they have to be tackled in everyday life. Of course, that doesn't mean we don't need specific expertise. That is still the core, and the development of the vaccines have shown that how important the life science industry is. But at the same time, we've learned that if we do not get people on board, and that also means to push a change of behavior, we are not approaching the goals that we want. So we will need to have access points to everyday life, starting from nutrition to housing to mobility. All industries that somehow affect our everyday life are going to be part of the healthcare industry of the future. And then again, when we anticipate that we will have digital tools, the collection of individualized data, algorithms, it is also clear that we shouldn't only be focused about the potential of what technology can do. In that sense, it has also to be embedded in social structures. So I think the second big focus for innovation is actually societal changes that allow people to provide their data with trust and to be sure that they actually can rely on an advice of a digital tool, so they really go to the right place. So again, clear focus still, understanding biomedical research and pushing it, but it has to be embedded in the bigger picture of society. And most of all, that means we need new networks. So in very short notice, these are the few changes that we believe are necessary for life sciences in the future.
Thank you for this very clear wrap-up, Stephan. Maybe a quick question related to digitalization, but also NCDs. Well, we've seen that with the pandemic, mental health issues are more and more present, and it will unfortunately probably grow in the near future. How do you think companies in pharma or med device could use digital tools probably to help or prevent those mental health issues?
Well, we currently see quite a large field of innovation of new tracking systems. So this is actually, these are database systems that, for example, try to detect people that could potentially suffer from mental diseases, from depression in social media. And of course, there are many other elements on how we can detect and help these people. But that's just one part of the value chain. The second element would actually be that we can provide a quick access. And interestingly, it has been shown that, especially in the case of mental diseases, it does have a huge impact. People are ready and willing to seek help in virtual devices. So this is really something that we need to develop. It needs to be simple, it needs to be trustful, and it needs to be sure that people get the right kind of help. This could even be a chatbot in a first step. So eventually it's not necessary to have a human being available, just actually being able to diagnose yourself with a simple algorithm could be a first step. On the second level, I think we then need the interfaces that actually bring people to the right kind of expertise. So there needs to be a link to personalized or personal support at a certain level. And I think the interfaces is really one of the key innovation areas that we need to go to. And life science companies could be one of the players, first of all, in helping to define the relevant patterns in order to understand and detect these diseases, and then eventually also to help find the right solutions for these different patients, because the variety of diagnosis we're going to see is going to be much bigger than in the past. The more precise we're going to diagnose, the broader the variety will be.
So directly bouncing back on what you just said, speaking on expertise, speaking on personalized medicine and being more and more precise when it comes to patients, what to you would be the skills that the experts of tomorrow will need to have, will need to master to be able to be part of this world of deep personalization? for life science?
Very good question, and it's also tricky because on the one hand, of course, as we all know, there is an explosive amount of new expertise, of new data. So I think as experts, they need to be able to understand the latest findings, and they need to be on the forefront. At the same time, just being in the tunnel is not enough. So they also need to have the broader understanding and kind of understand the impact of a specific therapy in the broader context of the life of a patient or of society. So it's not only the expertise in life science that is enough, it has to be embedded in the societal context. And last and certainly not least, I think because the world is changing quickly and we have all this new information, the ability to learn and to digest that huge amount of data is probably the key skill. What we know already today is that many patients are overloaded with information or data, and also many experts and doctors are overloaded. And certainly we can develop tools, but I think the ability to structure information and put it in a bigger perspective is one of the key challenges and of the key skills that people will need.
Yeah, definitely. I think your answer will resonate a lot with our talents, but also with the young workforce now entering the business. But then again, speaking of skills, do you think that the leading life science companies of today and of tomorrow, will they be looking for technical skills or more a kind of mindset, I would say?
Well, I think the mindset comes first, because if somebody has the technical skills and doesn't have the mindset to cope with the complex environments, the technical skills alone are not enough. But then again, of course, technical skills are relevant too. So just the ability to understand the broader picture, not have the expertise is not enough as well. So it needs both, but the mindset actually comes first. And also, we're not a life science company, but we hire people for their mindset first and skills second. And I think this should also be the case for life science, for a life science environment.
Great. Well, then if I should summarize, then I can say the ability to see the bigger picture, never stop learning, and the mindset comes first, right?
Yeah, we can summarize. There's a few more things to say, but I will definitely touch upon it in the next time.
Cool. Well, Stephan, thank you so much for answering the questions, for sharing your knowledge with us. This was very inspiring, and hopefully we'll see you soon, who knows, for another webinar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.